This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free. Hey, y'all. Still trying to get all my crap together. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you. Gracious. Hold on just a minute. Thank you for being here. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I'm ready. I'm ready. I swear I'm ready. I swear I am. I'm ready. It's good to see you, Cindy. Southern Cats, Hannah, UK. It's so good to see you, Mustang. Thank you for being here. Good to see y'all. Miss Sarah, good to see you. Thank you for being here. DJ, good to see you. Abellis, my love, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Jenny Jen, good to see you. And thank you for being here. Content became a member. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Let me grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much, Content. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Thank you so much, my dear. I appreciate you probably renewing. It's good to see you. And yes, Abella, like Abella said, happy solstice. There's supposed to be a meteor shower tonight, and I know that because I saw it on Duchess's page. Let me grab that. Okay, let's pull that up real quick so I can talk to y'all about the solstice real quick. Are y'all ready for Christmas? Hey, little bit. Yes. How are you doing? I know you had to go to the hospital Wednesday because I wrote it down. Miss King of Anything, good to see you. No children. Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. I really appreciate that. Lisa, good to see you. Indy, good to see you. I don't know if I said hey to you. Southern Cat. Okay. Good to see you. Are you doing okay, Lisa? I hope you are. Let me pull. Hopefully it's not running too low. So yeah, I saw on Duchess's channel today while we were out that there is a solstice. Today is the solstice. Lordy have mercy. I'll get it in a minute. I'm so frazzled. Worried about being late. It won't let me click on it. There we go. Let me drop her link in chat. That's good. That's good. Did everything go okay? You're recovering well? That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay. So Duchess posted that today is December 21st. The longest night of the year is tonight. Today, December 21st, the sun has reached its southernmost point in the sky, shining directly over the Tropic of Capricorn. It is the shortest day of the year, an official start of winter in the northern hemisphere. And then tonight, December 21st, the iconic Ursid meteor shower will peak. The best part is that this year there will be no moonlight to interfere. You can see up to 15 shooting stars per hour. Don't miss the show. I thought that was so awesome. I like how she does the neon lights because she lives at the beach. I don't know what that was. Abella said, so meteor showers last a few days. Tonight is just the peak of the Ursids. These meteors are called this because they appear to come from Ursa Major, the Big Dipper. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's so cool. Thank you for that. Thank you for that information because I'm going to go out and look for it after our live today. So now I know where to look. Thank you. Ready for it to be over, Grinch mode here. We've got we've been making some crafts and we've got a bunch of sweets to make. We got more crafts to make, but I think I'm done Christmas shopping. I got Basil today. I got him like the dog bed that's for a big dog because he's really upset about not being able to get on my mattress. So I felt like if I got him a really big dog bed, it would feel like the mattress to him and maybe he wouldn't be so upset anymore. Hey to everybody coming in. Becky, good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So today we are going to talk about JP Miller. I put out a video going over the indictment and a little bit of the backstory. And I'm happy that he got indicted, but I wish he had gotten indicted for the actual homicide because I feel like there's way more to it. But considering that they have no proof that he was actually there when she was at the Lumbee State Park and took her life, I'm assuming this is probably going to be the best that we can get. So it's better than nothing at all. You know what I mean? I'm going to change my background so we know. Thank you, Nightbot, for the trigger warning, Hannah. Edith, good to see you. I may try from an upstairs window, but I'm not going outside. You made Christmas cookies with JJ. You're full of flour. I bet. There's always a big flour mess in my kitchen, too. That would be so good. I'll try to do that if I can. Did y'all see the boxing? Jake Paul and Andrew Tate both thinking they are a boxer. Y'all, Mr. Speculating was so upset. Jake Paul got his jaw broke, but when he saw that Andrew Tate fight, he was hollering from the living room. He was like, "Babe, you've got to see this." Like, he made me stand in the living room and he was like, "They're just hugging each other. They're just hugging each other." They were doing that because they were tired. Like, I thought they prepared. I'm not trying to be mean, but like, if you know you're going 6 to 8 rounds, you got to build up that stamina. You got to work on your cardio. Like, I mean, to be fair, I'm not about to get in that boxing ring and box. So maybe I'm not the one to talk about it, but who knows? I wanted to apologize. Oh, I'm sorry, Shelby. Good to see you. I wanted to apologize about thinking I was going live earlier. We went to go see Mr. Speculating's brother and mother, and I thought that we were just going to pick something up, and he was like, "No, we're hanging out here today." And I was like, "Oh, okay." They got some work done that needed to be done, so it was good. It was definitely good. The kids played on the zip line. They all had a great time. Sometimes they find lesser charges if they can't prove the bigger ones. Yep. All right, so we're going to start on this video and we're going to get through this video today, but I have some documents I want to share with you that are discussed in this video. I actually have the documents or some that somebody posted. And there's an interview with JP after Mica's death, and I kind of want to go through the timeline a little bit better. I know that I went through the indictment in kind of a weird place, and when I finished the video, I didn't really like it, but it's so hard for me to upload a video from here right now until I get different internet. I stuck with it. So we're going to try to do it kind of more in order. Mustang said, "That's why I can't watch boxing. They hug too much." Right. Abella said, "If you want to see the meteors well, don't look at bright lights for a while before going out, like an hour or two. Get your eyes ready to turn down or off. Turn down. Get your eyes ready and turn down or off outdoor and other lights." Okay. So I'm gonna wait. Everybody will probably be asleep. I'm gonna go out about midnight, and all I have the outdoor lights on for the geese, so I have to turn that off. Andrew Tate is a sour loser. He's done said he will sue his opponent. Really? Wow. That's ridiculous. Oh, yeah. There was some family bonding and productive. So definitely good day. It's Mica, like Michael, her dad, if I remember right. Thank you for that, because I was really concerned. I kept on saying Mica and Mica and using it interchangeably, and I felt disrespectful. So thank you for that little bit, Elisa. So it's Mica. Thank you. Norma, good to see you. Good to see you. All right, let me play this video and grab a couple things while we listen. In this video, we are going to go over the John Paul Miller indictment. He has been indicted so it's still blurry. I'm trying to fix that. I'm so irritated with it. We're too close to the city. Maybe get to see some of the meteor shower. I hope you do. Content, good to see you. Thank you for becoming a member. I really appreciate that. All right, I'm going to play this. I'll be right back. Regarding the death of his ex-wife, Mica Miller. Who is John Paul Miller? Well, let's go back a little bit to the beginning and refresh ourselves on who he is and what happened with Mica Miller. I think this is the best video to learn just exactly who John Paul Miller is. This is from Fitz News.
You all right, man? You okay? Huh? You okay? What's the matter?
So here you see John Paul Miller laying on the ground in somebody's yard by his truck. The person's yard he is in is his wife before Mica, and her husband is talking to him. Basically, John Paul Miller was married before. They got divorced. His ex-wife married the man that's asking JP right now, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And JP is laying on the ground in their yard by his truck.
Huh? What's the matter? This switch makes me go crazy. Is somebody helping you? Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
But you got Mark coming? Somebody called me. Okay.
So, if I'm understanding correctly, he says that the meds make him act crazy. He thought he was going to see Jesus. And it's just weird. He's laying on his ex-wife's front yard, like on the lawn, and it's her now husband that's talking to him. It's super weird. You better use that fair use allegedly. Oh, yeah. JP's whiny voice. Yeah, I have to be careful. Allegedly loves to strike. You know, them sunglasses are weird. I don't wear them. I want sunglasses and I need them for the Jeep so bad, but I'm so picky about my sunglasses that I haven't been able to find any yet. Like it's sad. He literally just said the ants are biting me. Something to that effect.
Ants biting me everywhere. Is your medication something they gave you? Yeah. Can you want me to make sure Mark's coming? But somebody's called him, right? Okay.
Like, what would possess you to drive to your ex-wife's house, fall out in the front yard, and lay on the ground and call? Like, I mean, are you just seeking attention? Is it for the drama of the whole thing? It's so fucking weird, man. Shelby says, sounds like my toddler when I don't give her the green plate. Exactly. Exactly. This dude is like, someone get this man. Yeah. And he just walks away and he's like, you're good then. You got somebody on the way. Okay. Because at this point, like, what do you do? I mean, I'm assuming he's always like this. He's got to be so dramatic to fall out in the yard and start hollering about ants crawling on him, right? Like, at this point, I would be done too. Exactly, Jenny Jen. Calm your damn tits, sir. Jesus. So that is Mr. Miller. Me too. So somehow he climbed his way up to being the pastor of Solid Rock Baptist Church in, I think it's close to Myrtle Beach. And while he was married to the woman whose yard he was just in crying about the ants, he was leader of a youth group, and that is where he met Mica Miller, who would later become his wife. He groomed her from the age of about 10 or 15, and then they ended up getting
Right.
married. So we're going to go back to an article that came out right after she ended her life, and we're going to go over that. That's going to give us some background information. So this article is from Fitz News, and we're not going to read the whole article. We're going to go down to the background. This is Mica while she was married to JP Miller. I really felt like this article was important because it talks about just some of the ways that she suffered while she was married to him. She really suffered being married to him. He demanded a lot, and it's so odd to me because, you know, thinking about it, he groomed her from the age of 10 when he was director of the youth group at the church. And I don't think he would have ever gotten somebody like her or any of the women he's more than likely married to had he not been the leader of the church, the preacher of the church, and had such a high standing. I don't understand how he became preacher of the church. Um, and I mean, it really, for me, it plays into the good old boy system, the, uh, Southern Baptist type of thing. This is why we have church at our house. We don't go to a church facility because a lot of times it's about money, and I don't feel like I need somebody to tell me how to interpret the Bible. I feel like God talks to me, and guides my path. I don't like it. And if you've got people like him running huge mega churches, I mean, I question your ethics, your thought process, all of it. He definitely was a groomer. Absolutely, he was. Women are attracted to that. They think he's a man of God. Exactly, exactly. And that's the problem. Like, that's if he had not been a man of God, I don't think he would have gotten them at all. Any of the women he got. His dad has a gross history as well. I've heard his dad was a preacher and a groomer. I've heard that, but I haven't backed it up yet. So don't run with that. It reads, Mika Acacia Francis
Exactly,
says she
little
met
kid.
her husband, known as PJP, to his growing congregation when she was just 10 years old. At the time, the 25-year-old father of multiple children was married to his first wife, Allison Williams, who bore a striking resemblance to Mika. So Allison Williams is the woman that he was in her yard just now, doing crying over the ants. And I lost my train. Oh, a little bit of Lisa said wherever two or more are gathered, he's there or in his name. And that's correct. You can get saved in your closet by yourself. You don't need a big preacher man passing around an offering plate to get to heaven at all. At all. The divorce of Allison and John Paul Miller was finalized on
Yep.
October 29th of 2015,
Exactly,
and he
Becky.
married Mika in 2017 when she was 23 years old. Mika, who was raised in the church, immediately took on the role of pastor's wife at Solid Rock at Market Common. The couple's smiling faces featured prominently on the church's now defunct website, offering a warm welcome to its new members. And in this photo, Mika and John Paul Miller on their wedding day at Solid Rock at Market Common. And they're all wearing red. I mean, that's going to be more than likely his church. She seems happy in this moment. But I mean, imagine knowing him being from the age of like 10 years old. He's the leader of the youth group. I mean, I'm sure she was elated to marry him, to marry the preacher of the church, to be marrying such a high standing man of God. I mean, could you like you're very Christian, devout in your faith, so much so that you're going to marry the preacher. Yes, he's been married before and yes, he has other kids, but you're ready for that because for whatever reason God didn't want them to be together and God has brought you two together. And he's the preacher. God wouldn't have put you together if he didn't want you to be together, right? Like this is a man of faith. It's good. Your family approves. You're happy. He's happy. You can continue your walk in faith every day. You know what I mean? That these are the things that she's probably thinking at that time. What do they call those ring wedding? I don't know. I was saved laying in a bed trying to go to sleep. I grew up Baptist. I don't believe in the organized church anymore. I don't either. I don't either at all. Hey, Hio, good to see you. Good to see you, love. Hope you're doing well. Jessica Simpson was saved while singing at youth group. She knows the exact moment. You usually do. Sometimes. I got saved when I was very young at church, but I don't remember how old. According to the website, Mica became more active in the day-to-day activities of the church in 2020, quote, joyfully, unquote, singing on the praise team and creating all the graphics for the church and for her husband's popular Sunday sermons. From the outside looking in, their marriage was perfect. But according to her friends, things were not as they appeared. Mica's close friends indicated the marriage began deteriorating about 2 years ago, but most of them were unaware of how bad things had gotten until the fall of 2023. Around this time, JP purportedly read an, quote, apology, unquote, letter to church board members explaining that the couple had separated and admitting that he had been exchanging text messages with the daughter of a couple who were members of the church. JP is also said to have informed the board that he and Mica had agreed they could, quote, see other people, unquote, while they were separated, a claim more than a few of the board members questioned. I want to pause. Yeah, I paused in the video, but okay. While he's been preacher at this church, a Southern Baptist church, he has been married, had children, got divorced, married Mica, got divorced, or they're separating now, and he's talking to another young girl in the church or somebody that grew up in the church, and her parents are members of the church. So he's talking to what is more than likely soon to be his third wife since he's been preacher at the church. And the only reason that he's telling the board members of the church that he's talking to her is because they got busted texting each other. And so he goes to the board after he writes an apology letter because they were real pissed off and he was probably afraid of losing his position. He apologized profusely and said that while they're still married, they agreed to see other people, which is not at all biblical. This man is on his third whatever, like marriage at this point now, and he's in his third marriage, all while being preacher at this church. Like it's insane to me. And why would they keep him there? Why wouldn't they find a different preacher? Because obviously this man is not a man of God, in my opinion. I Spy Crime, good to see you. He's not a real preacher. Little did Mica know what she was getting into. Her family tried their best to talk her out of this relationship. I can only imagine. And for me, thinking about how Micah viewed it, I mean, she probably thought he was a 100% man of God. He's preacher of the church. She thought it was the best thing that could have happened to her because she's been groomed. He's preacher at the church she grew up in. All these things combined in her mind made her think that she was going down the right path. And then when she actually got married, you're dealing with him asking you to do all these things that you know are ungodly. And what do? You want to make your husband happy. You don't want to tell your family they were right. You don't want to go against the church or the preacher. You don't want to go to church and tell everybody that you're having problems. You know? Oh my goodness, Theo, thank you so much for the super sticker. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. Thank you so very much. I'm going to try to see if I can see what it is. Hold on just a minute. Oh, I might be able to. Yay. Look at the hearts. That was so sweet. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing good. Are you ready for Christmas? Oh, content. I was going to tell you that there's a meteor shower tonight too. Annabellis was telling us that it's from Ursa, which is in the Big Dipper. or the Dippers, I think. Miss Sarah said his third wife's former husband passed as well. It was ruled an accident, but seemed sketchy. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I wonder, do you know if they were together when she started talking to JP? Right here, and remind you that he is the pastor of a church.
Thank you so much,
He's
Hio.
talking about divorcing
Good to see
his
you.
then wife and seeing other people while they were just separated and not even divorced. Being a pastor of the church
I
in the
agree.
South, nonetheless. The other woman that he is talking to also is the child of members of the church. So more than likely he met her when she was very young, like he did Mica, and was just 10 years old when he met her. And keep in mind, Jesus went to the church courtyard and flipped all the tables over because they were out there gambling and selling stuff and all that. And that was something that stood out to me. I've talked to you, I don't know if I've told y'all, but in the past, when Mr. Speculating and I first got together and Christmas came around, he had just switched jobs and it was hard to make ends meet. And so I sought help from Toys for Tots, and I think they told us to go to some church organizations. And we went to this church, and we were elated that they were helping us, and it was really sweet of them. But when I went in there, I noticed there was a movie theater with like popcorn. There was a Starbucks, a coffee bar, like Starbucks coffee bar thing, where you buy coffee and like donuts and things. And I didn't go there on a Sunday, so I don't know, to be fair, but it was odd to me that you've got a Starbucks in there and you're selling coffee in a house of God. I appreciated the help, and I told them that, and I never spoke out loud about this, but you see things like that a lot in these mega churches, and it's like, how are you doing that when I mean, you're a church, the story of Jesus flipping the tables over in the courtyard because of what they were doing. I don't know. It's weird to me. There are more layers to him than you can imagine, and he doesn't hide any of it. It doesn't seem like it with the whole ant escapade. He's got what I don't understand, I Spy Crime, is how he had everybody fooled for so long. So much so that he became the preacher of such a huge church. Hey, Orange Rose and Ava Sim. Becky said, I need a little help. I can get it. Because it can be easy to be unkind for me anyway. So attending gives me the tools. Attending church, for some people, it's good. And I would never tell somebody not to go to church. But just for me, if it's Susie Skinner, her husband was disabled and fell in a pool and drowned. Really? That happened in a movie. That's not good at all. Many churches have coffee shops that help support various projects and missions. So maybe that's what it was. Okay, maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Yeah, JP is married now, but I don't know her name. All right, if it's to support missions and organizations and other projects, then I can understand that. But I would still, if I was head of the church, I would still be a little worried because of that story in the Bible. I don't know. And he was married with multiple children at that time. That just gives you an idea of who he is, along with the video we just saw. Continuing with the article, several longtime friends of the couple who belonged to the church began feeling uncomfortable with the seemingly strange new messaging and tone of his weekly sermons. As a result, they opted to seek a new church to call home. When Mica realized her friends no longer belonged to the church, she began opening up to them. According to multiple friends, what the young wife claimed she was experiencing at the hands of her husband was horrific. According to them, Mica was, as court documents supplied by her family attested to, a woman afraid for her life. Mica was a devout Christian. She cherished the faith and fellowship she found within her church. Friends say she endured years of abuse at the hands of her husband silently. afraid that if she spoke the truth to those closest to her, it would affect their relationship with God. While those who are not devout followers of Christ may struggle to understand her hesitancy, those who are say Mica was ultimately striving to protect the one thing which brought her the most peace during the time she struggled most, her faith. So again, I mean, I know I stress this, but I really want you to understand that she's married this man, a man she thought was a man of God that has groomed her unbeknownst to her. She hasn't figured that out yet extensively, right? And he's putting her through hell on earth. And she won't leave him because she's afraid that if she leaves him, then people will look at their relationship and say, I don't believe in God. If God were real, he would have kept them together. That's the preacher and his wife. Why are they not together anymore? Why are they divorced? And she would be so afraid that, like, it would make a bad name for the church or the congregation or anybody in it, that they would turn away from God. So she's enduring literal hell on earth just so other people don't stray away from God. I mean, it's like, it's a lot. JP, I mean, yes, John Paul did marry again after Micah died. I said he did have everybody fooled for a long time, but when he got up in front of his congregation and tried to tell everybody that she was mentally ill, that was his downfall, as it should have been, because that video is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. You think these ladies would have heard about his past? Well, they were in the church, right? So they did. I mean, all the women that he's talking to are in the church, but they're like, well, this is the preacher. I mean, he's the man that tells us how to interpret the Bible. He's the man that tells us how God feels and what we're supposed to do to be righteous, to be Christian. He guides our walk with God. So it's a whole other, like, psychological warfare. You know what I mean? Oh my God, Abellis. Gracious in the morning. Thank you so much. That's like the second time you've done that. Thank you. Thank you so much for gifting 50 memberships. Good gracious. Thank you, Abellis. I really appreciate that, sweetheart. That was so sweet of you. Thank you. I'm going to play the Polar Express and the Crazy Train because we got to get both of them out to pick all the new members up. Thank you so much, Abellis. I really appreciate that. My goodness, Abellis, thank you again. Thank you so much. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. Thank you so very much. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, Abellis. That was crazy. Thank you for giving 50 new people access to the videos. Y'all, I can't wait because I'm going to get some videos of like some of the sweets we do and things. Last year I showed y'all some of the sweets we made, and I'm excited because this year I've got a bigger kitchen and I can actually show you guys how to like make some things. So I'm excited. I can't wait till I can get those videos made and out for you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much, Abellis. Cracker Jacks, it's good to see you. If y'all don't mind, if you would please twinkle, twinkle over to the thumbs up. Where is it? There it is.
Come on, players, stop hating. Stop hating. Start participating. Start participating, Star. Come on, twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle.
Twinkle, twinkle, baby. Thank you so much again, Abellis. I can't thank you enough for that. Cindy said many pedophiles and sex offenders are expert narcissist groomers. Yep. And manipulate people for sex, money, and power. I agree 100%. Hey, Karen. Good to see you. I've missed you too. And I hope you're having a Merry Christmas. Hope y'all all have a Merry Christmas. Twinkle, twinkle, baby. Hey, Cara, good to see you. Cracker Jack said, I've twinkle, twinkle. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Wasn't she absolutely beautiful? She was gorgeous. So pretty. Gone too soon. She really was. When she realized she now had fellowship outside of the church in which she was raised, she knew it was time to seek the guidance of those she
course. Yes,
trusted and
ma'am.
loved the most. Friends say Mica told them her husband, the same husband who preached regularly about the dangers of pornographic addictions, was himself addicted to Smex. They say he required her to have Smex with him 3 to 5 times a day. At night, when she refused to comply, they claim he kept her awake by blaring loud music in her ears and throwing water on her as she drifted off to sleep, a form of torture utilized in interrogation techniques. So, she married the man of God, thinking he's preaching about the dangers of being addicted to porn, and then she gets married to him and finds out that it's all bullshit. She's finding out, let's just take that for example, if that's the only crack. He's watching porn, and to an extent that if she doesn't have sex, he's watching porn and wanting her to have sex with him to perform her wifely duties 3 to 5 times a day. Okay. So at that point, even if that's the first thing she realized, she's realizing that this man is getting up in front of the congregation every Sunday and lying his ass off because he's preaching about the problems and issues with being addicted to pornography, meanwhile, being addicted to pornography and sex. And then if she doesn't comply, if she says, we've already done it 4 times today, baby, I'm just a little tired. I'm kind of wore out, from being up at the church and working on all the flyers and getting everything ready for Sunday and singing on the praise team. I'm a little tired, baby. We've already done it about 3, 4 times today. He's going to blare music. I mean, that's what that is a form of warfare that happened in the Middle East. They played Metallica. That's why allegedly a lot of people think that we are satanic America and things like that. But I don't know anything about Afghanistan, and I'm not going to pretend I do. Things were done for a reason, and I'm going to leave that at that. But either way, it's a form of warfare, of torture. And so you're living with this man. You've realized everything he says on Sunday is complete and utter bullshit, lies, and you're enduring it because you don't want anybody to lose their walk with God. You're dealing with literal warfare tactics. Such a man of God. Like, everybody needs to understand how much of a man of God this man of God was. Hannah said, now don't forget fair use, Jess, allegedly speculating loves to strike people. Yes, she does. Did I go way? Okay. I thought I went way too up. Yeah. 3 to 4 times a day. I just checked, and Susie Skinner married JP. Her late husband was Chris Skinner, a quadriplegic. So then, yeah, that's what Sarah said, and I should have checked Google myself, and I apologize about that. So he fell into a pool. I need to check and see if JP and then we're talking when Chris Skinner fell into the pool. Because if so, maybe they can get JP for being behind some of that shit. Although I'm absolutely positive that he would have gotten her to do it so he didn't get his little hands dirty. Sick. When Mica couldn't meet his demands, according to her friends, he allegedly began forcing her to take testosterone shots to increase her Smex drive. He also allegedly began engaging in other methods of sexual gratification, methods which dehumanized Mica. Several of these methods, which can only be described as humiliating to his reserved wife, allegedly involved animals, homeless men, and Smex toys. Again, I just said it allegedly involved animals, homeless men, and toys. Now, I read a document a while back that's in this article, and if you need me to, I'll find it for you. Paste it on Patreon or in my post, one of the two. But yeah, he would drive around late at night with her and literally pick up homeless men off the streets of Myrtle Beach and want them to have sex with Micah. This man of God, he would want her to have sex with animals and toys. Could you fucking imagine? Again, I mean, it all goes back to her Christianity and her religion because of who he is and why she married him, and them all being active members of this church. So not only does he want it 3 or 4 times a day and playing loud music and throwing water on you if you fucking fall asleep without giving it to him for the 4th time today, he also wants you to sleep with animals. He wants you to sleep with homeless men. And this man, meanwhile, is going to the church and preaching on Sunday. And she is such a devout Christian and such a devout follower of God that she's enduring all of this so that she doesn't make him look bad in front of his congregation and jeopardize anybody's walk with God. I mean, I could not imagine a worse fate. But like we talk about hell on earth, right? But this is really hell on earth, especially for her. Hey, Dutch, good to see you. Thank you for being here. I did ask, and it said John Paul Miller was not talking to his now wife, Susie Skinner, when her husband, Chris Skinner, died in 2021. The death of Chris Skinner was ruled accidental, and Miller has faced allegations related to his estranged wife, Mica Miller, who died by suicide in April of 2024. Miller has been indicted for cyber stalking Mica and has been accused of harassment before her death. So I don't know, but it is odd that he died that way. And like, I mean, if she was a member of the church, do we really know? Because they talk about the affairs that JP was having. Oh, am I wrong? I could be wrong. I need to check that document. I could be wrong. One of them was doing, okay, well, let's go down that route just in case I am wrong. If JP is doing the animals and the homeless men, again, she's having to watch that and endure that. And he's going to church and preaching on Sunday about it. Not about that, but he's still going to church and preaching on Sunday. And your husband, this preacher man, this devout follower of God, is sleeping with other homeless men and animals, if that's the case. And you're enduring all of that after marrying somebody that you thought was going to strengthen your walk with God to the extent of there is no better man to marry because he is preacher of the church. And if anybody knows what God wants me to do, where God wants me to be, and how to be a godly, good Christian wife, it's going to be this man. And then you marry him and all this happens. I do apologize if I had it wrong. Oh, thank you, Dutch. I really appreciate that. That was so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, like JP and Micah showed up while the ambulance was at the Skinner home. Really? See, that's questionable. I don't like it. Well, Indy said, I'm confused that she didn't want to influence the faith negatively, but then why take her life? At that point, I think she gave up. We can't prove that JP was behind it, but I mean, you know, when we talk about the cyber stalking and all the things he did to her to make her, I mean, it's going to get into it in just a minute. And that's what he's finally charged with the indictment. All of the things he did to her when she tried to leave, coupled with all of the shit she endured during the marriage, on top of growing up in that church facility and losing all of that, on top of, you know, if this preacher, if this man of God is not a man of God, then who is? Where do I even begin? Is anything real? You know, I say it like I'm saying it, but I'm thinking about Micah. If I married him and he's doing all this to me and making me go through all this and all of the shit that happened during our marriage, and I thought that he was a man of God, then who is a man of God? What is God even real? What am I doing? You know, all of these things together could have made her take her life, but it also brought a light on John Paul and everything he was doing and everything he was putting her through. You know what I'm saying? So in the end, I think she had just had enough and gave up, because it feels like, reading these documents, I can imagine that she felt like there was nothing she could do. She goes to the police, she tells them what's going on. There's evidence, and they're like, oh, because it's marital property, it's community, so he can flatten your tires and he can stalk you and he can chase you. And I would love to know how many members of the police department are in that church, were involved in that church regularly, because she really felt like she had nowhere else to turn. Abella said, why homeless men? What's the appeal? I would think of some type of fetish. He probably looked at himself as above that. If I had to guess, okay, he seems like the stuck up type that just, because he's a narcissist. Everybody's looking at him for leadership and roles. And so for him, it's probably some type of fetish, like, oh, I'm a dirty boy. Look at me. I'm dirty. I'm sleeping with homeless men because I'm dirty. Like some kind of shit like that, if I had to guess. He has power over them. Exactly. I'll bank that he used money or drugs as a way to influence them to do his bidding. I wouldn't find that too far out of the realm of possibility either. Looking back, I got questions about Skinner. This case is deep. JP is trash in our city. I'm glad to hear it. Yes, ma'am. I've got questions about it too. Yes, ma'am.
Boom, 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 bam.
I'm glad that he is trash, but he had so many people fooled for so long. And it is a really deep case. It really is. He tortured that young girl. Micah. I use it interchangeably, and I do apologize for mispronouncing it because one of them is wrong. I'm going to say Micah, like her father. He tortured Micah. I mean, I could not imagine a worse form of torture, and she endured it for so long because she didn't want to turn people away from God. Like, she is like an angel on earth, even if she did take her own life. That poor child, Jesus, in the morning, Jesus, I couldn't. It makes me mad. While Mika's decision to privately share such awful details of her marriage shocked her friends, they also said in retrospect that it made sense given how he treated her. And I mean, and again, the people that she's sharing this with are not members of the church, because she doesn't want to make him look bad to the congregation. She doesn't want them to see him for what he really is. So she's waiting until people see other reasons to leave the church to even tell anybody what's going on. Dutch said, I was shocked when I found out he used to own Crocodile Rocks, a local bar. A pastor owning a bar? Make it make sense. See? And how did he play that off to the congregation without the congregation saying, now, why does a pastor own a bar? Play, and then preach about the sins of being addicted to porn. If he's preaching about that, he's probably preaching about the sins of being addicted to alcohol and all the things. Preachers are supposed to go out and find people that are addicted to alcohol and drugs and bring them back to the light of God. Yet you own a bar? Absolutely not. He forged various documents, stole Mika's notary stamp and wouldn't give it back. Just tons of things he did. I remember that when we were going over this, now that you've mentioned that, Lisa, and thank you for reminding me of that. Southern said, did she really take her own life, or did he have something to do with it? Well, the thing is, she appears to have been by herself, and the cameras at the park, I think, say she was by herself. But there's marks on her hand, and people have said that it could be marks where she's like holding her hands like this, like praying. There's bruises. Or it could be where somebody's holding her hand like this, like to hold the gun to her head, like, holding, you know what I'm saying? They ruled it a suicide. And since it's been ruled a suicide, I think charging him with the cyber stalking he did is the next best thing that they could do. Quote, I mean, while we were there, and of course we were in their
Yes,
inner
ma'am.
circle and we saw a lot and everything, unquote, said
Exactly.
Alicia Young, a friend of Mika's and former member of the church. Quote, I mean, the way he would just talk
Right,
to her in
Bellas.
front of people. I mean, he would talk down to her and the light would just go out of her face and everything. And we didn't know exactly how deep the abuse ran because we
Why?
only saw what was in front of us, unquote. Mika had been preparing to leave her husband, but given all the alleged abuse she had endured and a failed previous attempt in September 2023, she was carefully documenting evidence for her attorney. Friends say the evidence included proof of misuse of church funds, affairs involving JP and other women, and other illicit activities. Given a recently uncovered incident report filed on March 13th of 2024 within the Myrtle Beach Police Department, which alleged the illegal transfer of funds from the church's, quote, Dare to Care mission, unquote, to Miller's personal account, it is possible she had ample ammunition. Okay, so he's defrauding the church and taking money and putting it in his own account, and she's documenting. So at this point, she's like, okay, I've got to get out of this. I got to get away from this. Maybe she's realizing he's not actually a man of God, and she's trying to pull back quietly. She's trying not to mess up his standing with the church and all that. She's gathering documentation so that if she needs it, she can say, look, he's defrauding the church. He's taking money. He's doing this. He's doing that. She's starting to gather evidence and pull back, but she's doing it quietly. But something happened before Mika could do anything with the information she told friends she had gathered. On February 8th of 2024, her husband had her admitted involuntarily to the Watchamaw Center for Mental Health. Upon her release on February 10th of 2024, staff at the facility informed her that her husband had taken her purse and her car keys. When Mika returned to where she had last left her car, it was gone, she told friends. According to Mika's friends, JP left her at the facility with no identification, no wallet, and no car. So he knows that she's got all this evidence, and yet she knows that they were together while he was stealing funds. She knows that she knows this. So now she's leaving. He don't want her to leave for whatever reason, right? And he has her involuntarily committed. 5150. Okay. And he can do that because they're married. You can have your spouse involuntarily committed if you make the police, if there's reason to do so. So for whatever he said to make them believe that he has her involuntarily committed, she gets out and at a time where if you were really concerned about somebody's mental health, your husband or your wife, you would be there to pick them up, support them, and say, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Is there any way I can make you happy? Let's go get something to eat. Let's go get some coffee. How are you feeling? You know, do we need to get your medicine? Anything like that. But no, he's like, nope, fuck that. I'm taking your car. I'm taking your wallet, taking your identification, and I'm going to leave you standing in the hospital parking lot by yourself alone and questioning how you're even going to get home. He didn't give a shit about her. Dutch Girl MB has been a member for 11 months. Thank you so much for the continued support. She said hashtag justice for Micah. Yes, I am hoping that she can get justice. I wish it could be better than this, but if we can get him for the stiffest punishment for the cyber stalking, I'll be happy with that. Dutch Girl said, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone. It's getting so close. So thank you for being a member for 11 months, and thank you for the continued support.
Amazing!
And Cara has been a member for 13 months. Wow, a year and a month. That is insane. Thank you so much for the continued support. And Cara said, happy holidays, everybody. Happy holidays.
Amazing!
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yes. It's so sad. And as we continue to go through this, you're going to understand why she felt like she had nothing, like nowhere to turn at all. I mean, I would have too. I would have felt like there was no other option, no other out. Norma says, happy holidays, everyone. I hope y'all are ready for Christmas. I hope if you're not, you're getting there. I hope y'all have a really good Christmas. I really do. It's getting so close. This might slow down his going in the same way with others. We can hope. We can hope. Police report filed a little over a week later, Mika told responding officer that JP had, quote, fraudulently initiated her involuntary hospitalization, unquote, and stole her vehicle. She added that JP had known her since she was 10 years old and, quote, groomed, unquote, her while she worked for him prior to their marriage. John Paul had an entirely different narrative for the officer. According to him, his wife suffered, quote, from mental health disorders, unquote, which caused her to become reckless and spend large amounts of money. He claimed he had taken possession of the vehicle to ensure she didn't sell it during her most recent episode. He also told the officer they were not legally separated. As the couple was still legally married and the vehicle was considered marital property, the officer found no way to establish that a criminal offense had been committed. Accordingly, no charges were filed. So she tries to tell the cops. She tries to say, look, this is what he's doing to me. He has groomed me. He has known me since he was 10 years old. I need help. I'm just trying to leave. He stole my vehicle after having me committed. Like, please help me. I'm seeking the help of the police right now. And the police can't do anything. And in this moment, I was like, well, if we're being technical, they are still legally married. It could be considered marital property. I get that. I get that we're following the law and we can't file charges. So I kind of gave this one a pass, but it happens over and over and over again. That's where I've got a problem. I get following the law, and maybe the first or second time, okay, but it gets into territory that I'm like, I really feel like you're just trying to take his side on this. Little bit of Lisa said, I have cried for George Torres and Mica Miller. Sorry. It's really sad. For me, this story, just thinking about Micah being so devout in her faith and what she must have thought and felt like she was getting into, like the best decision of her life. And then not only finding out that everything she ever thought, she thought this man was a man of God. Like everything that she knew about him was a complete and utter lie. She's dealing with the torture as to not stray people away from God. She tells the police and they don't do anything. What do you do in that moment? Is your whole life a lie? Like she would have, I imagine she would have felt that way, And that's what hurts me. Not the manager. Hey, Abraham, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Carr said, it angers me that so many women go to police for help against their spouses and still dealing with them ignoring her because their husbands say it's not true. Mm-hmm.
Bop, boom, 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 bop, bam.
And as it goes on and continues, I feel like him being the head of a major church in that area could have played a role. I don't know. I don't live there, but I have to question it. Little Bit said she believed deeply from what we can see. It glowed in her. It did. Every picture you see, every story, she is glowing. And even in the video, which I didn't play for the recording that I made, she talks about God and how to have faith and to stay with faith, even in trying to help women get out of abusive relationships. Like she did everything she was supposed to do. Pause right here and remind you that he told the officer they were not legally separated, but he told the church that they were seeing other people because they were separated. So JP Miller seems to be a man after his own expectations, pursuing his own pleasures in life. Could you imagine? I mean, he's just so arrogant, narcissistic. Like, you only gave it to me 3 times today, so I'm going to play blaring music and not let you sleep. Like, it's not like he was trying to produce an heir or something. He's already got several kids. What the fuck is going on? Like, I can't. Thank you, Cindy, for dropping that in chat. If you are in a bad situation, you can call 800-799-SAFE, or you can go to https www.thehotline.org for help. Thank you for that. Hey, Kim, good to see you. Continuing with the article. Shortly thereafter, Mica moved in with a friend, and her father helped her get a new car so she was able to drive herself to work. Eventually, she managed to get her identification back from her estranged husband. But the problems didn't end there. A trail of incident reports documented an ongoing campaign of harassment and stalking, corroborating what Mica's closest friends say they witnessed in her final months. One of her closest friends recalled a haunting conversation with Mica in the midst of her final attempt to escape her marriage. Quote, My husband's going to try to find me, unquote, Mica said during the late night call, according to her friend. Quote, he's going to say that I deleted myself, telling the whole church, every sermon, every opportunity he gets to tell the church that I have a mental illness, unquote. Quote, you know, he's threatened me with the firearm before, and he told me I will never leave him, unquote. Mica continued, according to her friend, quote, he's never going to let me go. There's no way. He said it to me. He said, there's nowhere you can go that I can't find you, unquote. At this point, her heartbroken friend choked up as she recalled their conversation. Quote, she said, I'm scared, unquote, the friend recalled. Quote, she said, I'm genuinely scared, unquote. Quote, I think I know too much, unquote, Mica told her friend. Quote, and that's why he wants to keep me quiet. That's why he wants me to shut up, unquote. So this is why a lot of people have such an issue with the fact that they ruled it self-deletion, because she told people, she was like, he's going to do something to me. He told me I would never leave him. He threatened me with the firearm. He's never going to let me go. And then we find out that she allegedly self-deleted. There's also an issue, and I don't want to quote it wrong. It's been a minute since I read that article, and unfortunately I didn't have time today because I want to be here as much as possible, but I've had a lot going on with the move and everything. But I remember there being her father talking about, okay, let's say she did do it. There's bruises on her hands, which they said she could have been going like this. And then they say that she was found in the river away from her car, which she could have walked into the river. Okay. But the last known location is in a different location than where her body was found. And then you could say, okay, well, maybe she entered the river in that location and went downstream. Like, you know, she deletes and then her body floats downstream. But it's the opposite. She's found upstream from where her last known location was. And then when you take that with the fact that she went to the police over and over and over again, tried to file charges, tried to get help, and she's always told, you can't do anything, it's marital property, you can't do anything. He says that you've got a mental disorder, and it seems like they believe it. And then, like, it just makes me question, does JP have the police in his back pocket? And if he did, would they lie on the document and say that she didn't self-delete even though she did? I don't know. I don't want to talk bad about the police force down there. I don't know much about them. I mean, I do know, like, I've got some questions about Scott Spivey and other cases like that are real freaking peculiar. But I don't know if that's the exact same police department or not. It's just really weird. And so a lot of people are very upset about that. And it would be nice if we could get somebody from a different county to see the footage and go over it. And it could have been released, I'm not sure, but I need to see camera footage of it happening and know that she's completely by herself for me to believe it. I don't believe she did either. It was very shallow where they found her. Thank you, little bit. I don't. The Shrills case. I don't know what I'd do if my DTR was in a marriage. Oh, if your daughter was in a marriage like this, who was the guy in a toxic marriage recently? I don't remember. I don't know what I would do either. Go ahead, D, and talk bad. The police force. I got questions. I do. Maya Millette. I haven't heard about that case. I'm gonna write it down. Yeah, I don't like the self-deletion idea. If she is on camera doing it herself, then I think what he just got indicted with is the next best thing. But I need it to be looked into by a different county. Now we're going to talk about the final months. The multiple police reports Mica filed in the final months of her life lend credence to her growing fear of her estranged husband, which, in addition to being discussed in our interviews with her friends, was documented in a court filing by her family members days after her death. According to a report from WPDE TV 15 ABC Florence Myrtle Beach, on March 11th of 2024, Mica got a flat tire on her Honda Accord not long after leaving Springmaid Pier just off South Ocean Boulevard in Myrtle Beach. As she pulled out of the parking lot, she heard a pop and noticed metal protruding from her tire. It was the second time she had found a razor blade in her tire that week. A Myrtle Beach police officer helping her change the tire heard the metal was a tire deflation device that could be purchased online. As Mica headed to a Honda dealership to get it repaired, she stopped at a gas station, at which point friends say John Paul pulled up to the pump next to her and attempted to speak with her. Mica recalled asking her husband to leave. She did not wish to speak with him. While mechanics were repairing her tire, they found something even more concerning, a tracking device hidden on the vehicle. The Horry County Sheriff's Office, or HCSO, responded to the dealership to file a report, and while the officer was there, Mica received a call from an unknown number. It was John Paul. The officer filing the report told JP his wife did not want any further contact with him and that if he proceeded, then warrants might be written up. The pastor acknowledged the warning, but did not appear to heed it. Mica filed another report with police after discovering another tracking device on her car on March 26th of 2024. According to her friends, after taking all of Mica's electronics during her involuntary commitment in February, her husband had secured the logins of all her emails and social media accounts. On April 8th of 2024, she filed an incident report with Myrtle Beach Police alleging he had used her Facebook login to post a nude photo of her using an anonymous account, tagging her old profile, which she no longer had access to. According to Mica, the nude photo was one she had sent him 6 months earlier. When the responding officer reviewed the image, he concluded that since the nip was blurred, it did not meet the standard for nudity. Okay. He has had her involuntarily committed, took the vehicle, took her ID. She can't do shit because they're married. He has put a deflation device in her tire twice, causing her to have 2 flat tires. The cops say that because they're married, it's both of their properties, and basically he can flatten his tire if he wants to. He's got tracking devices on her car, which again, the police are like, he can track his car if he wants to. He locks her out of her social media accounts and posts a nude photo with the nip blurred, and they say it doesn't meet the standard for nudity. Like, really? What the fuck is going on here? How would you feel in that moment? Because I would give up. I would be like, what am I even supposed to do here? I mean, he's just getting away with everything. Everything. And I'm going to the police. I'm doing what they say to do. I'm telling people what's going on, and I keep getting told, he can do that. He can do it. He can do it. He can do it. Like, what the fuck? Clara, I'm sorry you're not feeling good, honey, and I hope you feel better. I hope you have a good night. The locals did very little investigation. There wasn't even a toxicology run on her. Really? See, talk about betrayal, right? Right. So even if she did take her own life, I mean, she's dealing with that, probably a loss of faith, questioning everything. I did just pull up some court documents, and there's a part on Fitz News, Pastor Wayne Miller. So we've got some more information on that. So we're going to continue. I'm going to let it finish the article that I have in the video, and then we'll talk about that for a minute. Are we freaking serious right now? Fitz News is where I've come to for a lot of the information on Mica Miller. They have a lot of stuff. Since the post was anonymous, there was no way to prove JP was the one who posted the photo, although Mica affirmed he was the only person to whom she had sent this specific nude photo. On April 15th of 2024, Mica discovered so again, they're like, oh, we can't prove that JP posted the photo, even though she said, I only sent the photo to him. He posted it anonymously, so the cops were like, well, we can't prove that it's him. Like, I have to question, are you members of the church or something? Like, why do you keep letting him get away with shit? And even if she did take her own life, my God, you left her no choice. Thank God he's finally being indicted for all of the shit that he did. Exactly. Exactly. Hey, Stephanie, good to see you. She must have felt like she had nowhere to go and no way out, and felt like her whole life was a lie. Find help across Canada at CCFWE Canada. And Cindy dropped the link to that. Thank you so much, Cindy. I really appreciate your help on that. Your help with that. They have. Like, it's insane the shit she was dealing with. Another tracker on her vehicle and filed yet another incident report. In response to this complaint, an officer advised her that because the couple were still married, the vehicle was considered community property and no crime had been committed. I'm going to pause right there. Like, can you imagine being her trying to get help and you just keep running into brick walls, and he keeps doing all of these things over and over and over again, and nobody is helping you? The police aren't helping you. You're doing everything we're told to do. We're told to file a police report, get a restraining order, tell the police, make sure that they know, make sure that you're documenting everything. And she is. And they're doing nothing, absolutely nothing. Continuing, Mica filed for legal separation the next day. As previously reported, John Paul Miller was served with these divorce papers on April 25th of 2024, just 2 days before Mica's death. So she finally files for divorce, and then 2 days later, she allegedly takes her own life. But again, I mean, let's say that she did, because right now we have no proof that he did do anything to hurt her physically in that way on that day. Let's say that she did take her own life. I could understand why at this point, because you've done everything you could to get away from him. And keep in mind, him is the person that she, her whole life, or her whole upbringing in that church, thought was a man of God. That was the man who was going to strengthen her walk with God. She's done everything she can to get away from him, and even the cops, every single time, he's put tracking devices, flattened her tires, had her committed, posted nude photos, embarrassed her beyond belief. And the cops are just like, oh, well, can't help. Cindy said, UK, what is domestic abuse? Women's aid. And she dropped the link for that. Thank you so much, Cindy. I really do appreciate that. He knows nothing's being done. Like, I have to question where the police in his pocket, I meant. The police report right back to JP. Yeah. Yeah, because every single time that he talks to them, they take his side. Since he's been arrested, chances are they now have enough to prove his guilt. I hope so. And I'm assuming they do too. I'm assuming that they have enough to prove his guilt now too. But, like, why couldn't they have done this? Why couldn't they have just listened to her, or something could have been done differently while she was still here with us? Mica's calls for help went unanswered over and over again. On repeated occasions, police officers found no calls for charges, cited civil laws relating to marital property, or indicated there was no way to prove her husband had committed any crimes. No investigations appear to have been conducted, leaving her with no option but to file for separation. So on April 27th of 2024, Mica left her apartment shortly after noon. She goes to a local pawn shop and purchases a firearm.
12:34 p.m. Mica leaves the pawn shop and travels on a highway, stopping at a gas station to buy gas and a drink. She heads toward North Carolina. 2:54 p.m. After about an hour and a half, Mica calls 911 from a park over the state line about 33 miles away from the gas station and says she plans to end her own life.
Now we're going to go over the 911 call. This video is going to be from the YouTube channel Jessica Danielle, but I'm going to link
Good.
every video
Good.
in
That's always
this
good, Hannah.
video
Hey,
below.
Kalisa.
Robinson County 911. What's the address of your emergency?
Hi, are you able to trace the location of my phone?
Let me see.
Excuse me.
You don't know where you're at?
In National Park.
What's the phone number you're
What
calling
I
me from?
swallowed loud.
843-655-5242.
Right, content.
Where's the park located at?
Me too.
In Bear Bluff.
Let's see.
It's good to see you. Merry Christmas. Happy
I have
solstice.
my location on, I think, on my phone.
She doesn't sound like a woman that wants to end it to me. And there's a lot of questions around this 911 call. Her father claims that you can hear people yelling in the background, and it sounds like she's talking to somebody, yet she claims to be by herself.
Find my phone is.
I went back and re-listened, and what you hear in the background could be a radio. JP was in Myrtle Beach at a softball game or something to that effect when this happened. But it doesn't mean that he didn't get one of those homeless men or somebody else to go up there and convince her to do this.
On. I just did my my location.
Okay, I'm showing.
I never thought about that.
Hold on 1 second.
Little bit of Lisa said, I don't think that is Micah. I never did. It sounds off and her cadence is off. I never thought about that. Cindy said, if you contact police for help with DV and they don't give you resources, Google domestic violence where you live. There is help available. Keep calling and don't give up. Thank you so much for that. And yes, exactly.
Boom, 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 bam.
I think you can also text start or home, start or home. I think it's start to 88388. I'm going to double check that and let you guys know. She does sound way too calm. It does almost sound premeditated. Now I don't know, right? Like, obviously I wasn't there. I didn't see, I don't know. But if it is her, I think that she did it because she had nowhere to turn. I feel like if the police had listened to her, and I know that because they're married, there's a whole nother set of laws that they have to abide by, right? But now he is being charged with cyber stalking. There was something that could have been done then, and if they had done it in that moment, if the second time he flattened her tire or the second time he put a tracking device on there, they had said, okay, look, like, we need to do something. Would she still be alive?
I don't think you are in Robinson.
She wasn't in Robinson County. You going to hang the phone up? I'm just curious. If you are in a domestic violence situation, you can text START to 88788 or text HOME to 741741 or text CONNECT to 741741 for a free confidential support from a trained volunteer crisis counselor. That would be for the United States, but I just wanted y'all to know that as well.
Yeah, the Lumber
Probably
River
not.
State Park.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay.
I didn't think about that either.
Tell me
Cracker.
what's happened.
Lori
I'm
Ann,
about
see.
to kill myself, and I just want my family to know where to find me.
Okay, ma'am. Just listen to what I'm saying, okay? Let me make sure I got the exact location where you're at, okay? Just 1 minute.
And that's the end of the call. Wanna be sleuthing something. Good to see you. Nice to meet you. Said there was only one place that she felt JP couldn't get to her. I feel like everything JP is dealing with right now was all part of Micah's plan. He can't even retaliate, must feel helpless. I didn't think about it like that either. And I feel like she might feel like she's getting some justification from heaven right now for everything he's going through. And I think he deserves everything he's going through right now and more. Um, and you've got a point. I mean, that is the one place he couldn't get to her would be in death. But I just wish that I wish the cops had tried to help sooner. I really do. Because she was a beautiful light to this world. I did want to share this with you guys real quick because I did not play it in the video. Hopefully it'll load. Yep.
So today,
So this is Micah talking about domestic violence, I do believe. It's one of her Facebook videos she talks about after she got her own apartment and got away from JP.
my heart's a little heavy. I've had a lot of women that have reached out to me
Probably,
about
Miss King.
situations of abuse. And I
True.
just want to tell you what a lot of people have told me
Love you too, Lori.
lately and reminded me because I think I forgot. I knew, but I pushed it in the back of my head just because of my situation. But you are the bride of Christ. Before anybody else's bride, male or female, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gender you are. Abuse is abuse. And you are the bride of Christ. And my Bible says that he took all the abuse you could think of for you so that you didn't have to live that life of slavery and bondage and pain.
So she's still so strong in her faith, right? And saying that like I feel like the way she's saying this out loud, she's realizing herself that she is the bride of Christ and that God did take all that pain. So she didn't have to take that pain, yet she was still trying to endure it. She was still trying to say, this is a man of faith. This is a man of God. What am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe this is normal. Maybe I'm not pleasing him the right way. And I think in this moment, after she's in her own apartment, she's realized that no, you don't have to suffer through that because God did that for us. Not trying to preach to y'all. I please don't think that. But I mean, again, it makes me realize that she suffered that what he put her through for so long because of her faith.
Jesus took it all for you. So you don't have to stay in a abusive relationship, whether that's sexual, whether that's somebody forcing you to take illegal drugs or alcohol abuse or physical abuse, psychological abuse, making you think that this is all your fault or you're a bad mom or you're a bad wife or you're a bad husband or you're not giving it your all when you know you are. God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people.
So again, she's realizing God hates divorce, but she was hurting more in that marriage than she needed to be, and she was suffering more in that marriage. She's talking about other people, but she's also talking to herself, most importantly. Kalisa said she was so strong, a different person may have given up years before.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
Yes, ma'am. Like really a beacon of light for Faith. I'm beat, y'all. Oh, okay, Becky, go to sleep, love. Go to sleep. Get you some rest. She had finally realized it was not God's will for her. Want to be sleeping something. Said, I think Micah wanted her sacrifice to shine light on this type of thing so that others might be helped before it's too late. Yeah, I could see that. And hopefully now light is being shined on it. She had amazing clarity. She did. Like she really was a pillar of faith.
But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that? So I want to remind you, like a bunch of people have been reminding me lately, that I'm God's bride first. And even an earthly spouse who's a good spouse, when they know that their bride is being hurt, just imagine what an earthly spouse does. What do you think your heavenly spouse does when you're the bride of Christ and he sees his bride going through abuse and hurt? What do you think he thinks about that? So, encouragement in all this is you are the bride of Christ first before anybody else's. And he's got you. And he sees you. And he loves you.
It's hard. I mean, so that was the 911 call. Her father speaks about it. There's a lot of questions with it. She did pull the firearm on herself. JP Miller was at a baseball game, I do believe it was, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina when this happened, but there was marks on her hands, and it could have been where she was holding them like this, they say, but it also looks like somebody could have been holding her hand, making her, hold the firearm to herself. Her body was located in the river, but it was located in a place that was nowhere close to where she was last known to be located. And it was upstream from that. So it's not like she could have went in at one place and then the river could have taken her downstream. I think, like I said in that video, I think for Micah, it was her talking to herself, things she would have told herself sooner. Trying to say it out loud and make her realize that while also trying to help other people. You know what I mean? It is some really heavy things. Oh, sorry. People think John Paul Miller could be responsible. He finally got indicted, and we are all happy about that, but it wasn't for homicide. So let's talk about that. This document was filed December 17th of this year. As I read through this, I'm going to go to and it reads the United States of America versus John Paul Miller. Background. At all times, material to this indictment. 1. The defendant, John Paul Miller, resided in the District of South Carolina. 2. The defendant, John Paul Miller, was the lead pastor of Solid Rock Church in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. 3. Victim 1, which would be Micah, was the wife of defendant John Paul Miller until her death on April 27th of 2024. Count 1 is cyber stalking. The grand jury charges 4. That beginning on or around November 16th of 2022 and continuing through on or about April 27th of 2024 in the District of South Carolina and elsewhere, the defendant John Paul Miller, with the intent to homicide, injure, harass, intimidate, or place under surveillance with the intent to homicide, injure, harass, intimidate victim 1, use interactive computer services, electronic communication services, electronic communication systems of interstate commerce and other facilities to interstate and foreign commerce to engage in a course of conduct that placed the victim one in reasonable fear for her death and serious bodily harm, injury, and attempted to cause, and the course of conduct would be reasonably expected to cause victim one substantial emotional duress, to wit, John Paul sent or so. I mean, I have to ask: is he being indicted now and charged with all of these things? Because when he was going through this stuff with Micah, when Micah was still alive and she was going through all this, is it because the police were members of the church and they were taking his back on everything because they were married at that time? Like, why couldn't you have said when Micah was still alive, hey, if you don't stop, we're going to charge you with cyber stalking, and then he get charged with cyber stalking? Like, did you finally realize when he's getting in the face of protesters and he's getting in trouble and all of that? Like, did you finally realize that he's a piece of shit? Did it take the feds getting involved because enough people put up enough of an uproar, enough people protested, begging for justice for Micah? In her death, she brought attention to that and made sure that people knew what she suffered here on earth before she left. But why is that what it took? Because again, I keep underlining, she did what victims of abuse are supposed to do, and she was ignored, in my opinion. Shelby said, I think the biggest thing I'm thinking of is God doesn't like divorce, but he doesn't want you to stay in abuse because that hurts more, and it's okay to walk away. Exactly.
Bop, boom, 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 bop, bam.
I meant bride of Christ in the spiritual sense, not the literal. Catholics only refer to the brides of Christ as nuns. Evangelicals use it, it's merely rhetoric. Yeah. Catholic nuns are all brides of Christ and wear a silver, I think, ring to show this. I didn't know they wore a silver ring, but I knew that they were called the brides of Christ. So, Lori Ann, I did hear something talking in the background, especially towards the end where she gets quiet, but I think that it's the radio. If I had to guess, I would think it's the radio, but I could be wrong. Abraham said, I think it was hard to prove back then, but now that she took her life, they have cause to investigate. You think so? Well, I think it's been a minute. I mean, it was 2024. It's been almost a year, but to be fair, it takes about that long. It was April 27th of 2024. So like a year and a half, a year and 9-10 months ago. Yeah, had a brain fart. Yes. So I mean, it does take a while to investigate, but I wish that the police had taken it more seriously back then. And again, I mean, maybe they did do everything they could do because you have a big issue where they're still married. She filed for separation 2 days before she died. So that didn't give, like, there was no police report filed when they were legally separated or trying to separate. So maybe that would have made a difference. I don't know. Yeah, I listened to it a few times too. It sounds like a radio to me, but I could be wrong. Basil is here. He just came in the room a minute ago. I had to get up and shut the door. He's doing good. I just got him a Christmas present today. They've been digging through evidence for months. Okay. Makes sense. Makes sense. Cause to be sent unwanted and harassing electronic communications to victim one, used or threatened to use nude videos and photographs of victim one to harass victim one, posted a nude photograph of victim one online without victim one's consent, placed or caused to be placed tracking devices on vehicles used by victim one, placed victim one or caused victim one to be placed under surveillance with the intent to harass and intimidate victim one, damaged victim one's vehicle, interfered with victim one's finances and banking, and interfered with victim one's daily activities in violation of Title 18, United States Code Section 2261A, subsection 2, subsection A and B. Count 2 is false statement. So yeah, Lorianne, he does miss me. And it upsets me because he he's litter box trained, but he has accidents. So, and I'm renting this property, so I can't let him, like, he gets free roam where there's linoleum, which is the kitchen. We have really big hallways, like hallway throughout the whole house. So the only rooms he can't come in are my bedroom and the living room, because those are the only rooms downstairs that have carpet. But he's used to being in here with me and on my bed, because where we were at before, um, we weren't renting, we owned that, but it was not a good thing. It wasn't a good situation um, to live in for 6 people, and I'll leave that at that. But I had blankets. There was a blue blanket I would put on my bed for him, and then there was a quilt that I had made that I would put on my bed for him, and I would put a shower curtain liner under it in case he did have an accident. But I can't I can't do that here, and he is really upset about it. But he's gotten better. Like, we let him go outside here to try to kind of make up for it. And today I bought him a dog bed, like a really big dog bed for a really big dog. It's not really big, but it's like for a large dog. And I'm hoping that'll feel like the mattress for him to lay on. Sorry to sidetrack. Basil's my little baby. I meant that right after her death, they had enough to open the investigation. You think so? And then why? I wish it hadn't taken so long. Like, I feel like the protesters had a lot to do with it, with them finally opening a case. The locals were not investigating. So it is the feds that's brought these charges, I'm wondering. Cindy said, it's like when a little one transitions to their own room. He's growing up. It's okay. He'll adjust. My heart still hurts for him, though. I really, I try to hold him extra. Just get some heavy plastic room runners for over your carpet, I think. Oh, that's a good idea. That's something I could do. Maybe. I could put the shower curtain down and do it again, and maybe put something over the carpets. Hopefully he'll transition and it'll be okay. I mean, he's good. He's got a lot of room. It just breaks my heart. Statements. The grand jury further charges on or about October 17th, 2024, in the District of South Carolina and elsewhere, the defendant John Paul Miller did knowingly and willfully make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement and representation in a matter within the jurisdiction of the executive branch of the government of the United States. To wit, he falsely claimed victim one had been calling him more than he had called victim one on March 11th, 2024, when in fact, the defendant John Paul Miller called victim one at least 50 more times than she called him. He falsely claimed police had never. No, I was talking to Little Bit. I don't know if I might have said it to you. I'm sorry, but no, I think Little Bit. I'm wondering if it was when the feds got involved that because she said they called it the S word. They said it was the S word and then called it done. And then there was talk about the feds finally getting involved. So I was asking her if the feds are the ones that brought the indictment, or if it was the local police, which I think it would say federal document or federal case on here if it was the feds. So it might be the local police. Told him to stop contacting victim one, when in fact the defendant John Paul Miller was told on March 11th, 2024 by a police officer with the Horry County Police Department to stop contacting victim one. He falsely claimed he did not damage victim one's tires or cause to be damaged, when in fact defendant John Paul Miller used or caused to be used a tire deflation device in victim one's tires in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1001, subsection A, subsection 2. So they talk about in this indictment that he said that she called him more than he called her on March 11th of 2024, when in fact he called her 50 more times than she called him on that day. And he had previously stated that he did not flatten the tire, when in fact he did flatten the tire. He did get the tire deflation device and he did flatten her tire. So why is it that this is being said now? They're saying, well, you lied because you did call her more than that, even though you said you didn't, and you lied because you did use a tire deflation device, even though you said you didn't. Like, nobody looked into it a year and a half more than a year and a half ago. Nobody looked into it then. We couldn't do anything about it then. Like, I'm sure if you had asked, well, let me see your phone, and then go ask him, let me see your phone, and see who called more, you would have been able to tell, because he said he called her, she called him more than he called her on that day. Okay. Well, if you look at her phone, it's going to show that he called 50 or more times. And if you look at his phone, it's going to show how many times she called him. Like, we couldn't have done that. I'm sure that the fact that he had called her 50 times would have been on her phone if you had just looked at it, especially if she's making the police report. And then even if he deleted calls, you would have been able to tell Mica didn't call him that many times. So, like, why wasn't this done earlier? She did seem lost, because I think because everything in her life had been a lie. Do you mean as far as where she took her life? I think that could be because she was still living in an apartment in Myrtle Beach, so she came across the state line to do it. Now, why she did that, I don't know. I'm wondering if it's because she knew that that police department wouldn't be involved in um like, investigating her death. Did she come across state lines and do it so that our police would be involved in investigating this crime, getting other police department involved, therefore shining a light on the case? At least part of the investigation was the FBI. Okay. Okay. I did mean local police, FBI got involved. Okay. Perfect. Thank you for that. I think what happened was there was different pieces to this puzzle, and until somebody put it together, they couldn't see the danger that she was truly in. That makes sense too. So if you see, let's talk about that. If you see JP Miller and, like, you've been called out there, 911 call, because he's laying on the ground crying, talking about answer in his face, do you really think he's capable of all this? Like, maybe not. So yeah, maybe there was a lot to this puzzle and they didn't know the danger she was in. And they were just trying to keep it low key. I get that. I could see that. She was in fear for her life, and it is so sad. It really is. Nightbot's been drinking, and it's signed. Why couldn't they do this before she took her life? We just read the article talking about how she went to the police, she talked to them, she tried to file paperwork, and they said that they couldn't do anything because of the marital property, because they were still married, community property, et cetera, et cetera. If they had indicted him then, would she still be alive? Was he involved in her homicide? He has since gotten married to another woman of the church, another young person in the youth group, from my understanding. And I just wanted to remind you of this horrific video. This is when he was still the pastor of Solid Rock Church, and he is letting the congregation know that Mica had indeed taken her life. This is how he announces to his congregation that his wife, his second wife that he had had since he'd been in the church, took her own life. He's preached a sermon. This is the day after, April 28th of 2024, a day after she took her life. He didn't know. They're saying, I'm sure they would say that allegedly she took her life because of the 911 call, et cetera, et cetera. But, he's just found out that she took her life. He preached a sermon before this announcement and acted like nothing happened. Okay. So you're a member of the church. You know that they're separated or whatever because he's talking to other people in the church, already got his next wife lined up, but he's still married to Mica. You know Mica because she grew up in the church, okay? But they're separated and they're arguing. He's told you about, let's just take a guess. He's told you about Jonah and the well. That was the story he just preached about. Ain't mentioned Mica at all, okay? And this is what happens next. He announces to the congregation that his wife took her own life.
We're not going to do an altar call today. Instead,
Really?
I'm going to have you stand up and I'm going to make an announcement. And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can. So y'all can stand to your feet.
First of all, if I was in a church and my pastor told me that after I make this announcement, immediately leave and don't talk about it, I'm going to have some questions out the gate. Yeah, I'm going to be like, why are you telling me something I can't talk about? We need to immediately leave.
Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give
Give.
for the
Give.
next, little bit, because I don't want to have, I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks, I don't know.
Notice he made sure to add continue to give money.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away, and it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina, and we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody.
He showed more emotion laying on the ground in the beginning of this video with ants biting him. Like, look at him. He's smiling. Y'all pray for me. Y'all pray for me. Lorianne said he needs to stop using church as an excuse for his behavior.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
But how is this congregation following him? Straight to hell? Little Bill Lisa corrected me and said third wife was not a member of the youth. She may have worked with them. Thank you. I'm not liking this. I got a couple of things wrong in that video, and that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable. I recalled the story that we had went over, and I think you talked to somebody in the youth group, but it's not acceptable to be getting stuff wrong, and I'm really pissed off at myself for that. Thank you guys for the corrections. Kalisa said, I've heard that JP and his father were very prominent in the community and church. They were buddy-buddy with law enforcement and political figures in that community. It was a huge power difference. Yep. And there's a lot of the good old boy system going on down there. Think about the Scott Spivey case that Duchess covers, who I dropped her link in chat in the beginning of the live, and I'll drop it again because she's how I found out about the summer solstice and the meteor shower. She talks about Scott Spivey. There was also the Murdochs down in South Carolina. There's a lot of the good old boy system down there.
And she wasn't, y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally.
Okay, Indie girl.
And that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her.
Sorry, I'm going to back that up. Indie girl, have a good night, sweetheart. I hope you have a good evening. Let me back that up and not be talking while he says this.
And she wasn't, y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And
what? That's how you talk about your wife who just took her own life, allegedly. She was, y'all know she wasn't well and she needed meds that were hard to get to her. Wasn't well, she needed medication that was hard to get to her. Do you mean the testosterone shots you were forcing her to take, John Paul?
So I'm sure there'll be more details to come. But just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, Bishop, he can pray. I get a microphone to pray out. And if you have anything you want to share as well, I appreciate it.
A lot of people left the church after that. He has since become remarried, like I said. If I remember correctly, he got in trouble for arguing with people who were protesting on Mica's behalf. And I wanted, so yeah, and I'm going to read through this article and we're going to go more into that. Little bit of Lisa said he's going to talk about his grandmother in another video. She had not passed at that time. I think I remember that now that you're saying that. He talked about his grandmother as if she had passed or saying she had passed, and she indeed had not passed at that time. Could be wrong. He makes me mad too. Like, I would like to, he's such a puny, whiny, little ignorant stain of society. I just would like to just, like, I feel like if I put my hands around his neck for long enough, his little head would just boop. But that was just a metaphor. It wasn't literal. Yeah, he is. He's the one with mental health issues. And again, anything that she was going through, he drove her to that. My God. 3 to 4 times a day, or I'm going to play blaring loud music at night when you're trying to sleep, or throw water on you, involving homeless men and animals. In either one of it, I just, My God, there would be something wrong if you didn't have some mental health issues after going through that. Yeah, testosterone. I had to share this article with you before we left. This article is from February 4th of 2025 at 6 a.m. It reads, 7 months after wife's death, South Carolina pastor John Paul Miller takes pulpit amid suits and protests. And there he is in all his glory. It reads, Myrtle Beach pastor John Paul Miller has returned to the pulpit after having spent months entrenched in controversy over his late wife's self-deletion. Mica Miller's death gained national attention and has put the couple's relationship under a microscope. John Paul Miller claims he is attempting to start anew with a different ministry and has taken legal actions to get rid of protesters who have stationed themselves outside a former Solid Rock Church building where Miller was a pastor before he stepped down. Now, keep in mind, this is from about 9-10 months ago. A group of protesters have gathered outside the building every Sunday since May of 2024, trying to bring awareness to domestic abuse and demanding, quote, justice for Mica, unquote. John Paul Miller has filed multiple restraining orders against the protesters, but they are still showing up undeterred by the threats. Solid Rock Church closed in November with Living Water Church taking over its assets. Russell Long, John Paul Miller's lawyer, previously said. On February 2nd, Miller said he was not involved with Living Water Church, despite records showing that he applied for a business license for the nonprofit. Now, I'm going to pause right here, and I wanted to let you know I found these other documents. Now, this is Facebook, but this was from December 20th of 2024, and it says confirmed John Paul Miller is linked to Mercy Church Ministries. Yesterday, the address was updated, and I asked the Secretary of State's office to provide me with the receipt for who paid for the changes. Zoom in, folks. It was John Paul Miller. I see some other things in this filing that warrant future investigation, too, like that phone number. So let's see. Secretary of State, it is a business filing, and it was complete on December 19th of 2024 at 11:39 a.m. Contact name is John Miller. Miller Fleming 87 at gmail.com. Business is commercial. $21. Address 172 Machine Leap Unit C, Myrtle Beach. I guess he was staying in an apartment or something. So he paid for the business license, even though he claims to not be part of Mercy Church. I don't see a phone number on here, but. So just another lie and proof of the lie. His first poor wife must have such bad PTSD and felt bad in the beginning that Mica passed, but she didn't, in my honest opinion. I'm sure she does feel bad about it, but, you know, what can she do? Luckily, she got out and she got with another man who protected her. I wonder if John Paul was like that with her, too, because the fact that John Paul Miller groomed Mica from such a young age, I feel like he felt like he had complete control over her and could basically make Mica his little, train her up, as they say, train her up to be exactly what he wanted her to be. And then when she didn't do exactly what he wanted to do, when he wanted her to do it, there was problems. And he probably did things with her that he's never done with anybody else. Because before, he probably knew that he couldn't get away with that with his first wife. He could with Mica because he trained her up, he groomed her. And then the next wife, he wouldn't do that with the one he's married to now because he wouldn't want her to believe all of the things that's going on. Hey, Nono, happy solstice, says Abellis, and I second that. Good to see you. Good to see you. And there's more under his grandmother's name. That's interesting. I didn't know that either.
Miller preached to his new congregation, Mercy Church, on Sunday morning in the
That's good.
former Solid Rock Church building located in Market Common. In November,
Makes sense.
Solid Rock Church shut down and everything inside was given away, Miller said. Most of the church rooms are completely bare, with the chapel wires hung from the ceiling where speakers once were. The stained carpet shows obvious wear and tear, and a dirty ladder laid against the
That
wall.
is insane.
Around 50 people came to service, a small fraction compared to the hundreds that used to show up.
Yep.
Miller, who previously led Solid Rock Church, stopped preaching shortly after the
love.
death of his wife, Mica Miller.
Have a good night.
She self-deleted in a North Carolina state park on April 27th of 2024. Since her death, which has gained national attention, John Paul Miller has been accused of abusing his wife and contributing to her death. He denied the allegations. John Paul Miller
he
has been
couldn't get in,
criticized for announcing Mica Miller's death to the congregation at the end of his sermon on April 28th of 2024. He stopped preaching after that service. I wish that he had never preached again. Continuing with the article, Miller said that, I second that past me. Present me seconds that. That he began preaching again at about the beginning of 2025, although he hasn't always had a place to do so. He has taken the congregation to unconventional spaces for Sunday service, such as a gym and an empty store, before returning to the cleared out Market Common Church, various sources said. Mercy Church appears to be a new iteration of the now closed Solid Rock Church, with the name appearing as the only notable difference between the two. So they shut down Solid Rock Church, but he's in the same building and he renamed it Mercy Church, and there's still people that followed him, that continued to show up every Sunday and listen to what he had to say. Listen to what he said. Quote, I spent 2024 giving mercy to everyone who slandered me, abused me, defamed me, and invaded my privacy. I gave so much mercy that I helped start a new church called Mercy Church, unquote, John Paul Miller told the Sun News over text. Quote, but in 2025, God spoke to me and told me to give the mob what they want. They never asked for mercy. They demanded justice. So in 2025, I'll be pursuing justice. Y'all.
You can't make this shit up.
I don't know if it played it or not. It seems like it failed, but you cannot make this shit up. He gave mercy to everyone who slandered him, abused him, defamed. What about Micah? What about the way that you slandered her, abused her, and defamed her to the point that she felt like there was no fucking escape? What? He gave so much mercy that he named his church Mercy. Again, what about, okay, we're the leader of a church. We're starting a new church called Mercy Church because the pastor gave so much mercy to everybody. What about God's mercy? What about Jesus's mercy? Like, way to put yourself on a pedestal above the very thing you're supposed to be preaching about, above the very pathway to God, to Jesus, to mercy, to righteousness. No, you put yourself right on a pedestal right above that and said, I gave the most mercy. I gave mercy to all these people. So much so that I'm calling this Mercy Church, not because of Jesus' mercy, not because of God's mercy, but because of the mercy I gave. Do not pass go. Straight to fucking hell. Straight to fucking hell. Should be St. Douche Canoe's Church.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
Exactly. Exactly. Unquote. Miller has been attempting to stop the protest using lawsuits since the start of 2025. He has filed over 20 court actions, including lawsuits and restraining orders against various Justice for Mica supporters. The Sun News requested comments from multiple defendants, including Alexandria Cuzzo and Sandra Karen, who declined. Miller is not the only one filing lawsuits. His father, Wayne Miller, and a handful of others have filed court actions against the same people as John Paul Miller. So he's getting his crooked ass daddy involved, it appears. And you can see here we've got at least a couple of documents, it appears, on his daddy, Pastor Wayne Miller. And there is a lot here. This one alone is 13 pages. And I have been going, I'm going to have to stop it here for right now. I'm going to keep that pulled up though, because Mr. Speculating has to work for a couple of hours in the morning. And then I'm going to come back. Want to be sleuthing something. Thank you for that. I'm going to come back. It'll probably be around 2 or 3 in the afternoon at the latest, I'm thinking. Hopefully, it'll be earlier than tonight's live. We'll be back tomorrow and I'll talk about this. I will be live tomorrow. I do want to start coming live again every day. And I'm finally at a point where hopefully I can do that for a little bit. I've still got a few more things to put up. Oh no, Kim. I'm sorry, Kim. I'm probably going to end this before you get caught up, but I apologize for that. I am going to have, like I said, I am going to have to go, but we will be back tomorrow. I will make sure to come live tomorrow and we'll continue talking about John Paul Miller. Yeah, I got to go because it's 9 o'clock and I've still got to do some stuff. And Mr. Speculating does have work in the morning. Cindy posted a Mercy Church bulletin announcements next Sunday. Bring baby oil and a blanket for our end of year community orgy. Children are optional. That's fucking scary. That's fucking scary. Amber Nola, I know my days are quiet too. My days are quiet too. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I will. Yeah, we'll definitely be back tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be early afternoon. And it's not a real one, just so you know. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow afternoon and we'll continue going over this. I've got an interview that he did, and we've got those documents to look at to continue talking about justice for Mica and going over this case. I hope y'all all have a good night. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for the support. I hope you guys have an awesome winter solstice tonight. I hope you guys have a good Christmas. If you don't come back or if I don't see you for whatever reason until then, but I will be back tomorrow. And yeah, I hope y'all have a good night. I hope it's peaceful. I hope y'all find something that makes you smile. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. And thank you again for the support. I really appreciate it. If nobody's told you, you are enough. You are important. You are special. And you are very loved. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.